Now, I've had my concerns about Football Manager 2025 probably for the last year since they first said that they were going to change the new UI and engine, and we finally had some news. My concerns aren't going anywhere for now, anyway, because, again, we haven't really been shown anything. It's now the end of September going into October. We were told we were going to, find out news. All we've really got from this today is a date and a rough price, which I can understand the price going up because of the new engine and everything. I'm more than happy with that, especially because of how many hours you get out of the game. The date is also being given to us. You can see it here, the 26th of the 11th, 2024. But information in terms of it, we haven't really learned anything new. We've got a couple of screenshots. We'll go over them in a minute. But again, this is where my caution and my, I don't know, worries, anxiety about the game that obviously helps pay my bills and is basically my career is starting to really froth to the top now. Because, all right, we've got introducing women's football. I'm excited to do that because it just opens up. One of my favorite things is learning new players through Football Manager. All the new Wonder Kids every year. I love to go and search them. I now get to know a whole new world from women's football because, hands up, I don't really watch it a lot or at all. When the Lionesses were playing, I watched that. So my extent of women's football is basically just watching the Lionesses at a major tournament. So I don't really know a lot about women's football. So I'm actually excited to learn about women's football. So that is good. I'm really happy that's in the game. I love the fact that you can go from men's football to women's football in the same database. All of that for me is absolutely spot on. We haven't been shown anything yet. That's the trouble. One of the screenshots is of a women, and there's already an error on it. I'll get to that in a second. The Premier League license, that's obviously great. You know, having just any license edition is perfect, but this one's the main one for especially people in England. But having that's fantastic. Finally, we won't have Man UFC, and we actually get their proper logo and everything. The rest of the teams are in there. Powered by Unity, this is the bit where I'm still like, is this cause you more troubles than actual solutions? Because it seems that way. But there we go. Not to mention, you can see the new logo. Yeah, I don't really like it. I don't really like it. But there we go. Anyway, the new roadmap. This is where we're going to learn about all the new stuff. So it was introduced today. There's going to be a new roadmap. Obviously, we've got some cool screenshots. The game, if it looks anywhere close, that would be good. I don't think it will be. Which kind of misleading in a way, isn't it? Kind of a little bit misleading. Unlock the new era of FM. Now, I always like to give Football Manager and Sports Interactive the benefit of the doubt. They've been good to me. They always come up clutch when you don't think they're going to. If I'm honest, sometimes you think, oh, they're really going to struggle, and they still somehow pull out a good game. Whenever they've had errors, they've managed to fix them and stuff, and I actually think FM24 is one of, if not the best Football Manager we've had in a long time. I think FM12 is always up there, and FM15 is always up there as two of my favorites because of the saves I had. I don't remember a lot of problems and errors, and I'm not really that type of person anyway to remember those things. My memory's awful. But I do remember FM either 21 or 22 having terrible problems, and even FM 23 having problems at the start. FM 24, to be honest, I've really enjoyed it. So I always like to give them the benefit of the doubt, but this is really concerning. We've already had to push back the date from usual, which is annoying for a content creator because going up to Christmas is when you get paid the most, and now we've got the lowest time of view-wise when we're leading up to FM 25. We're not making nowhere near as much money as what we would, which, content creator-wise, you rely on that. You really do. It's my career at the end of the day, but that's not a trouble for you guys watching. What is really concerning, though, is that the 7th of October is the first time we understand anything about the new game, which is introducing women's football. But if we can't see the interface until after that, what are they going to show us? What new in the game? Because they're just going to go, oh, she's in it. That player's in it as well. This team's in it. You can play as this team. But we can't see anything. Because the interface, it doesn't unlock until, by the looks of it, after. I'm guessing it'll come out weekly. But the interface is one of the main reasons why I was excited about a new graphics engine, because everybody knows I hate the default skin. I always use a custom skin. Pretty much everybody who can download a custom skin uses a custom skin. I think there's very rare occasions. I think Lelujo is the only one who doesn't really use custom skins. He plays the game as it comes out. And I don't know how, because it sucks. Like, the default skin is awful. Wait until you see the screenshots. It ain't looking good. It ain't looking good, Brev. The tactics side of things, then, it's cool that they're going to change the tactics side of it. I'm guessing there's going to be new player roles. There's, like, leaked screenshots of a ball playing goalkeeper and an out of possession player roles. I don't know whether that's going to make it too complex. I don't know how they're going to make that work. I would have preferred to have done, like, off the ball instructions instead of having off the ball roles, if that makes sense, and have, like, the actual player roles stay as they were, just because it will make it easier for people to understand on a brand new game. Because to be honest, I'm really concerned about players who, I mean, my dad, for instance, he's just about learning how to play FM24. Now he's got to go on to a brand new game of FM25 with all this tile and card system. I really worry about how he's going to learn how to play the game. And the whole point, I feel like, for the new graphics engine was to introduce new players to the game. They've opened up a whole new world with the console, and I think they've realized, like, this game's really difficult for new players to get into, which is the reason why I strongly believe the simulating version and making that a lot more user-friendly would be a way to go, because a lot of these players who they're trying to attract are younger people who have shorter attention spans. They are not going to want to spend a whole month just to get through one season. Let me tell you that. So I thought it would just make it a little bit, they'd make it like a little bit more user-friendly to get into for new people. I don't know about that anymore. If they're upgrading how difficult the tactics are going to be, and the interface that we've seen so far looks a lot worse. Again, though, I'm prepared to be, like, proven wrong. Match experience, I'm hoping that means we get to see the match engine in, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks' time? Again, that is concerning. That we don't actually see a match being played out until a month before the game comes out. That is a little bit concerning. Stuff with your manager, I'm not sure how relevant all that's going to be. I mean, I'm actually hoping that it's not week by week, because there's so much coming out. I don't think it... Maybe it is, actually, because there's 8. I don't really know. I think that's where we're going to, like... I think round about here is when we're going to really know what the game is like. The rest of it is kind of like, oh, that's nice, or don't really care, I'm guessing. I think the interface and the match experience is the two things that we are really intrigued with. You've got the new Unity engine. What does the interface look like? Because all of these screenshots that I've got, I still say work in progress. I really hope that's not what we get. I really do, because it's not for me. Definitely not for me. I am concerned that this is the first thing that they're introducing, women's football, because you can't show us anything if you haven't shown us the interface yet. I feel like this is more of like something you showcase once you've shown what the game is going to look like. Then you show, and of course, we've got women's football, and look how great it's going to be. Because I strongly believe that the women's football is going to be a very, like, credible asset to the game. I really do. I'm strong on that. I'm actually really excited to do rebuilds on it and do saves where I have to go from one to the other. I think that's going to be cool. For content-wise, it's going to be really cool, but also learning all the players. But my biggest concern is the interface, the match experience. We haven't seen anything yet, and we're 2 months away from the game coming out. But all right, so, I mean, the game price looks like it's going to be about $44.99 if you got it straight from Football Manager. There's obviously going to be websites which is going to be a little bit cheaper, and I will have my own link so you can buy it through me. So if you are planning on doing it, maybe hold out and wait and use my link, because, again, as a content creator, we benefit from that. Even if, you know, it costs £42, whatever it is, we kind of get like £2 for every purchase. So that would be great if you could wait. I'll probably, hopefully, have a link up very soon for it now that we know when the game is coming out. Which, by the way, is the 26th of November. There is no early access mention. So again, if we're waiting until the 26th of the 11th, I'm going to be really annoyed at the end of November. I was strongly hoping that we'd get like an early access at the start of November, just so that as a creator, we're not waiting so long, because we still got to wait 2 months now. 2 months. But here is the screenshots. Now, I tweeted this out, so if you're not following me on Twitter, make sure you do. It's very easy to find me, at Omega Luke. Make sure you go over there and type that in. I'm on Instagram as well, or TikTok, where I post like things about the game, or my wrestling, or real life, whatever. Now, the first screenshots are in, and as I put up here, I am a little bit concerned, a bit dissatisfied. I even said dissatisfied. I'm really... my vocabulary here. The skin looks very bland, and the text is so small. Now, you can't even... I can see the screenshot on here. You can't even see the text. That's how small it is. I'm not even sure whether you can see that. So I'm looking at my OBS recording system here. And I know it's blurry, and I know it says work in progress. I'm not even sure whether you can see that. Because I'm looking at it, and I have a very big screen. It's not massive. It is a big screen. I can barely read some of the stuff on there, and I have unbelievable vision. Now, this is of Fran Kirby of the women's football team Brighton. Why is everything so small? First, let's just stop beating around the bush, Luke. Say how you really feel, because this is something that I've always been concerned with. There's a huge space here. Why? Why can't her name be bigger? And her age? And her picture? You've got license for it. Why is it so small? Attribute-wise, I understand why it has to be fairly small, because obviously there's so many of them. But it's still annoying that there's so much wasted space over here and over here. Why is this not bigger? I'm not even sure whether my cursor is showing. Why is the positions not bigger? I mean, over here is even worse. Info, down here, really small. Height. She's definitely not that tall. That's the mistake, by the way. 188 centimeters is like 6'2". Frank Kirby is not that tall. But why is it all so small? Why is it up here? Why is that so small? All of this is just, I don't understand why we've got a brand new match engine, a brand new graphics UI, and everything just looks like it was on the old one. Because if somebody didn't tell me that they were using Unity and they just show me this, I would just think that's the normal skin that's on there anyway. I'd be like curious, because it does look slightly different, and obviously all of this is slightly different. But it doesn't look like we've got a new UI, because that looks exactly the same. Now, it kind of gets worse. This is Matoma from Brighton as well. So we're using two different players from Matoma just to showcase, obviously, one is from the female game, one is from the men's game. Again, it's the same, isn't it? It's just too small. Just everything's just too small. Why is it so small? Like, I don't understand it. That scalability should just make things a little bit bigger so you can see it. I just don't understand why there's just so much wasted space. It's my biggest pet peeve with all Football Manager skins, even some of the custom ones for it, which is the reason why I use the one I do, because it's probably the one that doesn't the least have the smallest like stuff on there. Just make it bigger. There's so much space there. But then we have, like, I mean, this is the third out of four. There's 4 screenshots. This is the third out of the fourth one. This is where you pick, I'm guessing, yeah, the club you want to manage. So, obviously, they've blurred out the rest of it, so you can only see what they want you to see. But the showcasing, obviously, here, we've got the Premier League license. This is how you would select a team. Okay? I don't really... There's nothing here that impresses me or doesn't. Well, like... I like the idea... I like the fact that you can see... Alright, okay. Let's be positive here. I like that it's showing you the predicted finish of every team on there instead of having to click each one. Because that is annoying, isn't it? Your reputation versus league reputation's quite interesting, actually. That's a good little addition. Notable rivalry, so that's good. For me and Dad, that's perfect. Actually, that's really good for me and Dad, because now we don't have to research all of them. We can just go, oh, there's a notable rivalry that we could do a versus rebuild on. That's good. Past winners and everything, that's good as well for people who want to, do a save when you take over a past winner or somebody who hasn't won it for a while. Again, that's actually quite good. So I'm being positive here. There is a lot of wasted space, though. All of these, the reason why I didn't see this first is because it's so damn small. Make it bigger. There's literally half of the box there, free, which you could have just made the font slightly bigger. And then finally, we got one last screenshot here. This is the squad page. So this is like the tile and cards page that they're showing for Brighton. I don't know how much I'm going to use all of these new pages compared to what I did before. I don't know whether this is going to make it easier for me, whether I'm going to end up using it or not. That's just my personal preference. You might look at this and go, this is great. This looks really good. It does look better, don't get me wrong, than some of the stuff that we see. And I know, obviously, the menus at the top is going to be slightly different. We're going to go from a portal, and then it'll be like bits on the top instead of the menus going down the left. Again, I'm struggling to try and find positives in a game that comes out in 2 months, which is supposed to be, the next generation. And I hate that because it is a game, obviously, that I loved for so long. I really wanted this to be amazing. I was telling people, when they get the new match engine, this could be the difference. This could be what takes Football Manager up to the levels that FIFA is at in terms of playership and viewership. Because people have been asking about the graphics when you say, it is embarrassing, isn't it? When you go, I play Football Manager, what does that look like? And you show them, they're like, oh, it's on PS2, is it? It's like, no, actually, you have to have a really good computer to play it. So, but I feel like we've got the new UI, we've got the new graphics engine, we're using Unity, and we're still trying to just cram in as much information as possible instead of just making it look good. Because at the end of the day, we stare at this all the time, and all I'm thinking in my head is, I really hope the skin creators are able to customize this. Because at the minute, I don't like looking at it. And I mean, this one's not as bad. It's the player ones that concern me the most. I feel like if I have to go the whole year with this as the screen every time, because what you got to think, right, is content-wise, when I'm showcasing a player, I need to show who it is, their name, and then obviously their attributes. Sometimes we mention, the COD they're playing for, the value, or, their ability. It's just so small. And one of the things that people always say is, what's the hardest thing about creating Football Manager content on YouTube? And it's deciding what the hell to put in the content to showcase stuff and what to put on the thumbnail. You'll notice I never put anything from the game on the thumbnail because you just can't. Nothing looks good enough to put actually on the thumbnail to attract somebody to click it. Every now and then I'll stick a new gen face on it, but it's so bad that people know what it's a new gen face, so they'll click on it. And genuinely, it's like the opposite effect. It works. Somebody's like, oh, the new gen looks crap. Well, click it. Speaking of which, by the way, there was the new gen face down here of a Mario Cozer Dewberry does seem to be better. So, if that's... Again, you'll have to zoom in because it's too small. But it does look better. All these pictures are just too small. I don't want to seem like I'm really shitting on the game and what they're doing. Because I know the team, I've met a lot of the team and they work really hard. They're so passionate about this game being amazing. And they are really excited for it from when the last time we went up. But I can't help but feel underwhelmed. And I'm sorry. But this just is very underwhelming. I feel like we're Spreadsheet FC again. I mean, I've been playing FC 25 a little bit. I even did a video on it. I don't like that game because of how janky the menus are and stuff. But you can't deny that a lot of the stuff that gets put into the game is good. Graphics-wise and stuff. It looks a lot better. And obviously the player rating makes it easier to see. And I love the fact that Football Manager doesn't have a player rating. But the text is just so small that you feel like going, I can see why a player rating would be way better. Because from I mean, some of it's so blurry. I don't know whether it's just because it is a work in progress and stuff, but I feel like unless you have a big widescreen, if you're playing this on a small laptop, you're screwed. You're going to have to zoom in quite a lot, and then by then you have to scroll across because you probably can't see the physical attributes, and it's just a whole load of mess. I really hope it's not this bad. That's disappointing to say when we get our first screenshots of the game. And the reason why I never did a video on the last time we got any screenshots is because I felt this way too. But now I'm seriously getting quite concerned about it. Because there's been no information. And even today it was like, oh, find the information. You look at it and go, we learned nothing new other than a date. Which we kind of guessed anyway because it was leaked. I don't know. What's your thoughts on FM25 so far from what we've seen? And if you disagree with me, then that's absolutely fine. You know, let's have adult conversations in the comment section. Because I've only got one rule on this channel, and it's don't be a dick. So, don't be that guy. Or girl.